Welcome, Tea Time True Crime with Katie, and tonight's case is highly disturbing. Trigger warning, viewer discretion is advised. We are going to be talking about the White House Boys. Oh yeah, it is very sad. Very, very, very sad. I'm going to be talking about the Dozier School for Boys. It was actually a true horror story from a reform school in Florida. It opened up 1900 and just did horrible, unspeakable acts to boys and young men. Known as the White House Boys, these 300-some men were sent as boys to a reform school in the small panhandle town of Marianna in the 1950s and 1960s. Some 81 boys have died there, or perhaps more. It is quite a mystery, and researchers do want to unbury the secrets. A survivor of the school, his name was Jerry Cooper, and he was sent to the school when he was 16, and he said these were not spankings, these were actual beatings, brutal beatings. The reform school was not just a reform school, it actually was just a school for boys, and sadly there were a lot of orphans there. Cooper did his best to stay out of trouble in school, but after several weeks he learned about the beatings firsthand. School staff got him out of bed at 2 a.m. one day and took him to the White House. A White House is where the beatings and torture were done to the boys. School staff got him out of bed at 2 a.m., tied him to a bed and tied his feet and began beating him with a leather strap. The first blow lifted me 1.5 feet off the bed, Cooper recalls, and every time that strap would come down, you could hear the shuffle on the concrete because their shoes would slide, and you could hear the shush, shush, bam. Cooper ultimately ended up passing out from the beatings. He lost count, but a boy was in the next room and counted the lashes. They were 135. There has been similar stories about this school throughout the 1950s, 60s, and even 70s. Roger Kaiser's story read, "It all boils down to civil liability. They do not want anybody to be able to have factual evidence that would make them pay for these, what I consider to be crimes." The state report also found no evidence indicating a staff member was responsible for any student deaths. Kaiser doesn't accept the state's conclusion. He recounts a story that says, "I know of one that I personally saw die in the bathtub that had been beaten half to death. I thought he was mauled by dogs because I thought he had ran. I never did find out the true story on that. And there was a boy I saw who was dead, who came out of the dryer. They put him in one of those large dryers." Today, they are still searching for grave sites, unmarked grave sites, to have their loved ones laid to rest. A woman wants to lay her late uncle after 100 years because when he was 13 years old, he actually died a month later. What's painful is that there are no records of any of the boys who died at the school are buried. That is absolutely horrifying. I found this article, and the last part of this article says, eventually some anthropologists will help uncover the truth about what happened at the school. Eventually, they hope to receive an apology and compensation from the state of Florida for the abuse they suffered there. So yes, you have heard right, you guys. Florida has not taken any, responsibility for what happened to all these boys. We actually don't know how many who have died, but there has been so many with traumatic events, and they go through PTSD. I don't know if you guys seen that movie, came out 90s, 95 called Sleepers. Let me know in the comments below if you think that movie has something to do with the Dozier School. Let me know. And I do want to leave with a semi-positive note, is that the school is shut down. It shut down in 2011. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. And remember, you're doing better than you think.